Welcome to Buckets, coming to you from the Tommy John Home Studios. What the hell is happening? My name's Matt Moore. I'm the senior NBA writer for the Action Network. Anthony Davis was traded for Luka Doncic. Luka Doncic is a Laker. The Dallas Mavericks traded Luka Doncic for a 31-year-old injury-plagued, not that good star and 1 first. And Max Christie. The Utah Jazz got some stuff. I don't even know. Don't care. The Los Angeles Lakers have traded for Luka Doncic. This is an emergency episode. I've got Joe Dellera at Joe Dellera. I've got Michael Fiddle at Fiddle's Picks. I've got Brandon Anderson, who just tonight remembered the NBA existed, at Wheaton Brando. There is so much to get to. We're going to try and talk about this both from a big picture perspective because we're all processing this in real time. As if like aliens had arrived. Like I would be less surprised if aliens landed on the lawn of the White House than I would at this news. We will process that and we will talk betting angles to try and figure out if there's a way to do this in the market. The number one thing off the top, off the front, off of the very, very, very top, I need yeses, no more. I don't need anything else but a yes, no from each of you on audience should not bet the Los Angeles Lakers to win the title right now at this price, 21-1 at FD or shorter in the market. Joe Dellera, true or false?
True.
Brandon?
False.
Michael?
Do not bet it. True.
Okay. I will say also true because I'm not doing whatever the fuck Brandon's doing right now. So let's start here. Okay. So the terms of the deal are, again, they traded one first rounder for Luka Doncic. They got Max Christie. They got Anthony Davis. Luka Doncic did not request a trade per Mark Stein of the Stein line on Substack. Per Tim McMahon of ESPN, the Mavericks had grown frustrated with his conditioning and were concerned about a supermax deal that Doncic was eligible to sign this summer. Whether that means that Luka had indicated he did not plan to sign that extension, we will not know until a later time. Luka Doncic, Maxi Kleber, and Markieff Morris, welcome back, King, to the Lakers. Anthony Davis, Max Christie, a 2029 Lakers first rounder that, by the way, is going to be pretty good in the 50s now, or at like 28 plus. 21 plus. Jazz get Jalen Hood Schifino, who's apparently still a guy. 2025 Clipper second. The Mavericks sent a second rounder. They sent out a second rounder with Luka Doncic.
What are they
Joe
doing?
Dellera, what's your reaction to this?
I honestly, I thought it was hacked. I thought there was a hack. And then I was like, maybe it's close enough to a real deal that this is a great hack, honestly. And then when everybody starts I was like, I need a video. So I still haven't gotten the video. So I'm still like, my mind is blown. I could not fathom the construct of the trade. I didn't understand. And then the more details came out, the crazier I think it honestly was. I was like, what do you mean? He's 25. You're worried about his conditioning, and then you trade him for Anthony Davis, who's had a nickname of street clothes? Like, what are we doing? He's 25. He's Luka Doncic. Like, I don't know. And then you don't even get all the picks. You don't take every asset the Lakers have. You're just like, give me Anthony Davis.
You don't spend 48 hours and go, we have 48 hours. If you leak this to anyone, you're out. You do not get him. I call Thunder. I call Rockets. I call Spurs.
Yeah.
Those three teams are who I'm talking to.
It sounded like it was a pocket trade. Like nobody knew.
Nobody knew. They just called up and were like, hey, would you give us Anthony Davis if we gave you Luka Doncic? And the Lakers had to have been like, hang on, let us think about it. We got to talk it through. Just hang on 1 second and put it on hold. And then they all burst out in song and fucking dance. Like it's a musical number. Like Rob Pelinka is doing the can with a top hat. Like flamingos appeared in the room and confetti fell. It was a Baz Luhrmann spectacle while they were on hold. Then they all calmed down. But yeah, I think we can probably make that happen. We can only send one, and then we can only send one first though. And the Mavericks were like, oh, that's no problem. That sounds fair.
They didn't even make him trade Bronny. It's incredible.
Michael Fiddle, your reaction.
More questions than answers right now, for sure. More questions than anything else. The first one that came to my mind, obviously beyond Joe's, like, is this real? How is this possibly real? My first thought was, this is the biggest news in the NBA since that Kawhi and Paul George to the Clippers moment. This is bigger than KD leaving Brooklyn for Phoenix. This is bigger than Brooklyn blowing it up and dropping Kyrie. Also, this is the biggest bombshell to hit the NBA in years. And then I was just like, immediately pulled up the NBA standings list, and I had to say, like, you say Rockets, Thunder, and Spurs had to be on the phone. Maybe they didn't want to send Luka somewhere in Texas or like an hour and a half drive away. Why aren't we calling up the Celtics and saying, what about Tatum? What about Brown? What about, I mean, I know those guys just signed contracts. I don't know how viable that is. What about Donovan Mitchell? What about like this? The centering on Los Angeles and not opening up the telephones, you could have gotten win now players and future and a haul. You could have gotten so much. I cannot believe Rob Pelinka, GM of the year, Nico Harrison will be working back at Nike when Kyrie leaves.
This is crazy.
This is.
Would they have taken Tatum? What do you think happens if it's Tatum for Luka? Like, after all of this time of the Celtics being like, we'll trade Anthony Davis for Jaylen Brown, we'll look at Kawhi Leonard for Jaylen Brown. Like, do you think they would have moved on from Tatum for Luka? Maybe because of the title chance this year, but like, I would imagine you have a 3-hour meeting with all the execs.
I just want to note here, as this is a betting podcast, I do want to note that at tonight I'm looking at this at 47 minutes ago, so that would have been roughly, I'm looking at this, 1:15. I'm almost there. 12:15 Eastern time. Patrick Mahomes, longtime Dallas Mavericks fan, just tweeted, "Wait, what? Brandon, how does this impact the Super Bowl line?"
Yeah, this is such a big, stunning deal that I came out of NFL Vortex to come back on Buckets. When was my last appearance on Buckets? Like the second Friday of the season. I'm out of NBA retirement.
In the long ago times, before the age of man. That's the last time you were on Buckets. You were on Buckets. I'm trying to think, like,
Joel Embiid played
long ago that like Jimmy Butler was still with the Heat and we thought everything was fine. Not really. I didn't. But anyway, most people did. Go ahead.
Nobody ever thought that was fine. Yeah, I mean, I sat just staring at my phone for 5 minutes, like Joe said, just like waiting. I was like, man, this is actually an impressive hack. Like, this actually, they got the punctuation right. They threw in a Utah as a third team. That's kind of fun. Like, somebody had to applause. Like, well done. You really came up with something that looks vaguely believable here. And it's like, the thing that was shocking about this is that as you scrolled Twitter and frantically updating what's happening, all the other people that are supposed to be telling you, confirming, sourcing, whatever, are all like, this can't be real. It's got to be a hack, right? What's happening with this? Got to get video. Is it on ESPN? Where, like, all the people in our lives that we trust, we're also not trusting the thing that is happening right now. Like, we're just all sitting here, stunned silence for like 15 minutes. Tim McMahon reports that the Mavs had major concerns with Luka's conditioning and long-term commitment. Defense wins championships is the quote, that you trade Luka Doncic to go get Anthony Davis. Good luck. You still got to play offense too. I'm not sure if you know that in Dallas. Wendy was on ESPN multiple times, called it a quote rebuke of Luka, the ultimate rebuke of Luka Doncic, which, you know, guys are going to come out and take their punches while they can here. But all the reporting currently is that this was Dallas's decision, that they were done, that they did not want to give him the contract. And so let's start there. So Luka was eligible for the Supermax, 5 years, $345 million that he could have signed this summer. He cannot sign that deal now after this trade with the Lakers. Yeah. He cannot sign the Supermax and move from Texas to California. So that's going to affect the taxes too. Like, Luka lost a lot of money on this deal right now. No crying for these guys. They're going to have plenty of money here, but I don't know what to say about this trade. Like, it still is so shocking. The thing that's not shocking is that, Matt, as you know, Lakers exceptionalism wins again. The thing that we rail about all the time about, like, oh, do the Lakers just, they pop into the trade machine like, yeah, you know, it'd be nice trading for Luka Doncic. What if we could do that? What if we just trade our old, in his 30s, big man with a history of injuries and a bad contract, frankly, signed for 3 more years with an option he's probably going to opt into because he's going to not be playing by then. What if we could trade him for like a top 3 asset in the entire NBA right now, perfectly at the window when LeBron's about to retire, and we can just magically reset for the next decade of our franchise? What if we could do that? That's what all Lakers fans think that they can do at all times. And then it just happened. So they didn't give the second first. They didn't give Austin Reeves. I don't know what's happened. They give Max Christie is the second asset in the deal. Like, what the heck is happening? NBA history, players at Luka's status and age, prime, etc., that have been traded. Kareem, Wilt, Oscar, maybe Doc, maybe Charles Barkley. Charles Barkley, I don't think was at Luka's level. Like this, I'm not one to hyperbole on these sort of podcasts. This genuinely is up there among the most shocking trades in NBA history. Fids, you were trying to figure out, like, what was the last big news story at this level? To me, the answer is the decision. That's how seismic this is to the NBA, and everything about it was a player like LeBron moving in a prime. That's where we're at right now.
By the way, Barkley was traded, by the way, in 1992. In 1993, I'm sorry, to the Suns. No, in 1992. He was traded in 1992, and that season won MVP.
Yo, I know.
Like,
Yeah.
and he was 29. So, like, I think Barkley probably, at the time, actually was maybe at this, like, this level.
Yeah,
so,
I included him. We got 5 guys. 5 guys in history at this level been traded.
Okay. So I've been one of the most, like, harsh critics of Luka Doncic out there, because I'm just like, look, the wins aren't there, the metrics aren't there, the winning isn't there, right? And it's like, well, he went to the finals last year. I was like, yeah, but I've talked about this, like, it was a fluke. Like, and his impact really, they went to the finals because of the defense. This season was when it had changed. When Luka played earlier this year, he was deferring more than ever. He was playing more team basketball, and everything. He was getting he was getting all the numbers despite not shooting great, and all of the advanced metrics were like, oh yeah, no, he's there now. They were plus 10 in net rating with him on the court. That's the highest it's ever been. It was coming into shape. They built the right team around him, and they gave it up for Anthony fucking Davis. Like, there is no, I've talked about, like, he whines. He doesn't come into camp in condition. He has these problems staying on the floor. He bitches at the officials and doesn't get back in defense. I can say all that and still be like, you don't trade Luka fucking Doncic. Like, this is categorically insane. There are things you just do not do. Like, unless he killed a man in front of you. Like, it had to have been, you can't, like, if you walked in and he was standing over someone with the knife, you still would be like, well, I don't know what happened. He's our guy. We stand by Luka. Unless you actually saw him kill a man, you cannot trade him. This is ridiculous. He is categorically going to be a top 5 player in the NBA for the next decade. And he's probably not going to be 5, and he's not going to be 4, and he's not going to be 3. This is going to be Luka and Wembanyama's league over the next decade. Nico Harrison being like, defense wins championships. Are you serious right now? Okay. Let's talk about a market reaction. The Los Angeles Lakers were 40-1 this morning. I lucked into actually having the data still up. The Mavs were as low as 20-1. There was a 32-1 at FanDuel. The Lakers were all the way down at 40-1. There was a 40-1 in the market. Shortest was actually 20-1 at FanDuel. That one's actually, I think, updating now because that's where they're at now. So, like, this morning at BetMGM, Lakers were 40-1. they've basically flipped where Mavericks were 20-1, Lakers were 40-1. Now Lakers are 20-1, Mavericks are 40-1. That's how the market has kind of reacted in the wake of this. I have all sorts of reasons why you shouldn't bet the Lakers right now. You'll get a better number. We talk about this all the time, that in the wake of a trade, like they don't have a center right now. Now they still have a fucking first rounder they can go use to get one. By the way, they're not interested in Jonas Valanciunas, according to sources. They've been focused in on Robert Williams. The Blazers continue to tell teams that they are not interested in trading Robert Williams. The Lakers apparently do not believe that. I also would not be shocked if the Lakers went out and traded for Clint Capella, who's on a $10 million expiring. They've had talks with Atlanta recently about Bogdanovic, although that was before they got Luka Doncic. So there's options for them to get a center. But right now, they don't have a center. They do not have one. They just lost 2 starters in this deal. They have to figure out how to like put a roster together basically in the next 6 days, which you can do that because you have Luka Doncic and LeBron James. If they have LeBron James, we'll come back to that point. Brandon, you're the only one that disagreed. I will go back to you here. Let's try and keep it succinct. Why do you think that now is the time to buy in on Lakers 20-1 to win the title?
They have Luka and LeBron. Like, how do you not buy in on a team that has Luka and LeBron? Fast forward to the playoffs in a playoff series. Who are the teams that you are not going to strongly consider Luka, LeBron, and 3 of us against any other team in the NBA? The answers are Boston, Oklahoma City. The list is over. Every other team, you're going to be like, I don't know, man. They do have Luka and LeBron. They could have the best 2 players in the world on the court any given night versus our team, Houston, Memphis, whoever the other teams are. We are going to believe that the Lakers could win the series. And like you said, they're going to get better than what they are right now because they're going to know that as well. And they have that pick and they're going to get other dudes on this roster. That's what LeBron's team do every season. This is normal for them to be like, oh, okay, trade half of my team and get some other dudes in here, figure it out, round into shape later. So yes, the odds are crazy compared to this morning because they have Luka Doncic now. It's a different team. It doesn't matter anymore. And also, betting is fun. What more fun can you have than to just like immediately buy the terrible ticket as the stock is shooting through the moon and get on the horse and try to ride to the end? You can't tell me that if you get to the playoffs and LeBron and Luka are healthy starting the playoffs together, which is a big if, I realize, and that pick and roll is staring you in the face night after night in the playoffs, you don't want a 21-1 ticket on that duo and whoever else they found to play coming up against a West that looks very, very open with a lot of teams that look very regular season-y and not necessarily teams we believe in the playoffs. Every conversation we have been seeing in our Slack for the last several weeks is, I don't know if I believe in this team in the playoffs. I don't know if I believe in this team. All the West teams, we don't know if we believe in. So why do we have to believe in the Lakers? They have Luka and LeBron. Believe in that.
That was not succinct. I would say that
It was for me.
I would say, honestly, here's the thing though, is like LeBron this season, and I think Fiddle and Joe will probably back me up on this. Like, it's not just that he's like not as good. He's bad some nights. This is the first time I've ever watched LeBron and been like, oh man, LeBron was bad in that game. And like the data backs it up, right? I want to kind of go off of that. That's assuming that LeBron is still with the Lakers. Joe, you asked this question in our Slack, and God, did it get in my head. If you're the Lakers and you're transitioning to the next era and you just traded for your star for the next 10 years, do you consider trading LeBron James to the Golden State Warriors?
I don't know. I mean, I think it would be kind of dumb, because it's LeBron. Maybe like after the season, if you want to. I don't know how, kind of like to Brandon's point, if you have LeBron and Luka on the same team you have to try. Like, you got to run it once. Like, you have to see what this looks like. There's no circumstance. I think I saw a thing that said Luka's coming back in like 3 days, like 4 days. So like, I don't like. I'm sure Steph Curry would love it. Maybe they could finally trade Gary Payton II and Moses Moody because it's LeBron. Maybe that's what they'll open the war chest for.
Mosey
Moody?
Modi.
I've lost my words here. Like, this is insane. I saw a very funny tweet that I had to mention. This guy Schwinny Poo was like, I love that Danny Ainge just like had to get involved, like an absolute addict for a second round pick in here.
Here actually, this is like a really actually fun question. Right now at DraftKings, Celtics Lakers finals is 21.55. So you can do that, or you can just bet the Lakers at plus 2,000
for the.
By the way,
let me ask you guys this.
Hang on, FanDuel already has a page up for Lakers Dallas bets up. They have put up a line for the February 25th matchup with the Lakers -4.5.
They got Luka lines.
They have props on Luka Doncic to record a triple-double at +170 and to score 50. They have the Lakers regular season win line at 48.5, Mavericks at 45.5. Lakers make the playoffs is now -600, no +420. And Mavericks make the playoffs is yes -178, no +144. What are you going to say, Brandon?
I'll say this. This is like we talk about like betting on median outcome versus betting on extremes. I'm not exactly going all in on the Lakers here. And we all know like that's the thing that I would do as like a LeBron nihilism thing anyway. But if you want to bet on the Lakers, you have to do the all-in bet, not the median bet. Like you do not just do the like, oh, let's make the playoffs -600. Do not make that bet. That is a terrible bet. None of us here want you to make that bet. Like if it's going to work somehow, you have to bet on it working really, really well.
I feel like you're basically drawing a line and daring Michael Fiddle to
You're doing it. You're calling me. Is the juice not worth it for you, Fiddle? Will you squeeze it out of this -600?
Dude, all I'm looking at is
Lakers,
Luka 50 burger at 15-1 in that game.
The Lakers play in Dallas on Wednesday, April 9th. It's the third to last game of the season. So we'll see if we actually get Luka in that game. Okay, so I just want to give the salary implications here real quick, just to paint the picture. Luka,
hang on, I want to say one thing real quick on the Luka thing because this is via Sam Viceni and he's right. So you mentioned Luka can't sign the super max. Sam said this and he's right. Luka will sign a 2 years with a player option of 2 and 1 with the Lakers, which is going to set him up for the maximum return once he signs the super max extension. Go ahead.
Yeah. So Luka just has the 1 year left with a player option. So there is like, if he truly was not in on this, and if he does not like being a Laker, there is the real risk that he could just play a year and walk and they just get nothing out of this. But you could also argue that they got out of Anthony Davis's contract, the rest of the contract deal. LeBron is expiring with an option. LeBron, we know the deal. Like he'll just, who knows if he'll play, but seems like a good reason to stick around. So Anthony Davis, heading into the season was 4 years, $230 million. This year is $43 million. So he's got $54, $58, and $63 million left. The 63 is a player option at age 34. I got to believe he's picking that player option up or signing an even worse contract after that. Interestingly, Kyrie Irving is basically an expiring deal. He has a player option. I had in my notes from the Dallas Mavericks from the summer that if things didn't go well with this team, this could be near the end of Luka. There could be 1 or 2 years left, and that Kyrie could walk also. So, like, if Dallas just did this whole thing on their own, there's a chance Kyrie's pissed and he's just out of here, and they have even less offense left too. Like, there are a lot of moving pieces here to where, and Dallas, I believe, too, has like no control of their picks for the next now 5 or 4 years, I believe. So if this goes badly, it could go very badly. My question I was going to ask, and I mean this totally seriously. I have an article that I started like 5 or 6 years ago that is mid-written. Is LeBron James the next great small ball 5? Is LeBron the center on the Lakers roster right now? And why isn't he if not?
If you try that, he will disintegrate. He will literally burst into dust if they try that. He is not at that point in his career.
Not for maybe for like a couple like possessions in like a playoff series, but
like a couple of I'm trying to think. Like,
How about the closing lineup?
I don't even think with regularity you would do it.
Nope.
It's just a lot.
Yeah, it's just too much.
It depends. It depends on how much weight Luka picked up while he's been out. Maybe he could play 5.
Let's look at this from a market perspective. How do you kind of read this in the like? Obviously, we gotta wait for the dust to settle and see who's available and when they make this trade. And there's like, to be honest, like, there's probably more moves coming.
Can I ask a crazy question?
Yeah.
We say, what if LeBron gets traded and we throw up the Warriors thing? What if the Warriors are more willing to blow it up and send Draymond over to the Lakers somehow? Is that at all possible? Because I'm sure he would absolutely love that. I'm sure it would work out absolutely beautifully. Let's not forget that Luka is now reunited with Dorian Finney-Smith too, who they were fantastic together, who loves playing versatile defense and waiting in the corner. Like, this is crazy. The Reeves, LeBron, Luka, Dorian Finney-Smith, and we're waiting on one more, which I certainly think there's going to be something that happens in the next 6 days. This is actually crazy. Like, if Luka, the only reason why I was hesitant to say yes to betting the Lakers in a futures now is just like, on principle, I don't really bet much futures. I don't really like to tie up my bankroll. And a part of that thought was like, when is Luka coming back, right? Like, I didn't know if the last thing I've seen from Luka was a video of him after his injury on a scooter and being like, whoa, we didn't expect that to happen. And now you get AD going. You actually have a really cohesive team in Dallas forming. So I was like, I'm almost going to zag and say, if you at all like this Dallas situation, they're going to be pretty good and they're going to be able to match up well with teams like them at the 40-1 or them at the, like, you look at the NBA standings, they shouldn't fall out from their 8th seed any much further, because 9-10 really going the other direction with the Kings and the Warriors. So I would expect the Mavericks stay in like the top 8 and might even improve if they get the addition of Anthony Davis right now without Lively, without Luka. The Lakers might slide a little bit in the immediate if they don't get Luka back and up to speed right away. So I would think you might be able to get a better price, Lakers, in the coming days, but also like they might add one more piece and suddenly be like real title contenders.
I mean, I think here's my thing is that Kyrie Irving is now your primary lead ball handler, and that's it. This team was constructed around 2 ball handlers. That's how it was constructed. Look at how their offense has performed since Luka's been out. They are not built this way. So, like, look, if they're able to find something great, maybe they go out and maybe this is like, hey, they go out and they pull the trigger. Maybe what you do is now, because they're now under the, by the way, good news for Mavericks fans, you're under the luxury tax. Isn't that great news? Aren't you happy with that?
Yeah, and American Express has a deal where you can exchange your jersey.
Maybe I don't even think if they have enough salaries left over, but if they were able to put together enough and they go out and get Kyrie, Jimmy, AD, it feels a little bit like 96 Rockets where it's Drexler and Olajuwon and Barkley. And it's like, I don't know if these guys have the wheels left to do this, but it's like, you might be able to shoot the moon, right? Like we're going to go 1 year, balls to the wall, and go for it. And then, if they win, we'll keep Jimmy. If not, we'll figure out what else we're going to do. That would make a lot of sense here. I think otherwise, the problem is just like, I don't know where the Mavericks offense is going to come from now, because this team was genuinely built around Luka with Kyrie as a secondary creator and shooters. By the way, Klay Thompson got fucked here. Yep. Like, he leaves the Warriors and lets all of that legacy go for a shot to prove everybody wrong and make a title run with the Mavericks, and they trade Luka. But yeah, they don't have another creator here, so like that's going to be, I think, a real hindrance to them in terms of a playoff environment.
Maybe they can get like a Colin Sexton, since the Jazz are already in on this trade. Yep. That would probably be like a cheap piece that they could use. I do like, there has to be another move. Like, if you're Dallas, there has to be another move, because this it sounds like messed up basically, but if you're trading for Anthony Davis, you are still clearly in win now mode. Like, you have to win immediately. He has 2 years of shelf life before he like probably starts to decline, just due to like health and age, just because of the way his build has been and what like his injury history has been. You have to win now. Kyrie's not getting any younger either. So like, I think they have to make another move. And I think if you were Like I don't hate what they have constructed. I think their defense is gonna probably be nasty between like AD and Lively and Gafford and like whatever kind of combination of players you can play there. But at the same time, like you obviously you have to score. So they have to do something else. I don't hate a 40-1 on them. I don't think that that's crazy either. Just based on what they're going to have on the roster.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm really skeptical of 180 getting through the rest of the season, two of the fit of them being able to figure this out on short notice. And like, I'm just like, look, I have numbers on my side that show that AD is just not that much of an impactful player. Like I got a lot of data on my side that AD is just not that impactful here. Now, is he an amazing individual defender? Yes. Does he pair extremely well with Gafford and Lively? Yeah. Like that defensive front court is going to be absolutely ridiculous. This is already one of the top 5 best rim protection teams in the league. You're never scoring in the paint again, ever. This is going to be this should be an absolutely elite defense. However, again, this is not like he is not a player that has ever shown consistently that he can raise the offensive level, get the ball in his hands, and create. So you still need somebody to feed him. Now you got Kyrie, and that's great, but like, look what happened to Kyrie in the finals. Like you can solve Kyrie Irving at this point in his career.
I thought it was kind of like ironic or like in a way too that they're saying defense wins championships. We want Anthony Davis when the Lakers won the championship with Anthony Davis. A lot of it had to do and was predicated on Anthony Davis making jump shots that he's like never consistently made in his career, except for in the bubble. So like it just like it doesn't make any. This whole thing doesn't make any sense to me.
Okay. I will say that I would kind of want to go the other way on the Mavericks and kind of go. I lean a little bit towards plus 140 on them to miss the playoffs. To me, it just seems like, look, AD's already banged up. Yes. So if you're going to be like, look, the Mavericks made this trade last year and they were able to go on this run. This is obviously a different deal, but like you can make a trade mid-season and go on a run. I understand that component. This is a lot more complicated. You have just completely everything that this team did was built around Luka Doncic. Everything. And now they have to reinvent an offense and an entire system around these components on the fly. And as good as Jason Kidd was in the playoffs last year, and he was, that is not the coach that I want in charge of trying to pull that off in a 3-month span in a competitive Western Conference. Kyrie also extremely injury prone. Like he gets banged up. This is what's crazy is they are openly flaming Luka for his conditioning. Like this is as close as you're ever going to get to seeing an NBA team fat shame a guy. Like they are literally out here being like, yeah, his conditioning was a huge problem. We can't feel like we trust him.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. Like I understand that he's missed time and I understand that he's not in good condition. He's 26. He's going to get to the same point everyone gets to, which is like, oh, I got to take my body seriously. Time to stop drinking beer every night.
Now I could follow LeBron James's routine and become an elite human being superhero version of Luka Doncic, who's going to win MVP 3 times for the Lakers and make this look terrible for the Mavericks.
Probably not, because nobody's LeBron and LeBron's only going to be around for like, and also like I just kind of wonder if this is like, I continue to wonder. The notion has been LeBron's going to retire as a Laker, and that's what I will still assume.
Yeah, I would agree.
But it wouldn't like shock me if he wound up like closing it out in Cleveland. Okay. So we kind of talked about that. We talked about the playoff.
Wait, I have another futures question or an angle. Yeah. I'm going to pose the question. You guys are more in tune, so you got to give the answer. Pacific Division. Depending on how you feel about the Lakers here, do you bet the Lakers to win the division? They are at DraftKings right now, plus 180 versus plus 110 at other books. So that's the spot to do it if you like them. If you do not like this for the Lakers, is it Clippers? Is it, I see a 14-1 on the Suns, who are only a few back and maybe are still doing a move or can make a run? Is there a, we love the division bets because you can isolate down to a few teams. If you like or don't like the Lakers here, is there a bet in that division?
I think it would be I think that you could bet the Kings because I don't know if De'Aaron Fox gets moved. And honestly, even if he does get moved, I think that there's a possibility that they make a trade that actually makes the team better. I don't think it's out of the question. And even then, I think that the number's just wrong, right? Because like the Lakers are going to have to deal with, you have 2 like super ball dominant players. Austin Reeves, we know, needs the ball, but can play well with LeBron, right? But now you're going to add in Luka. to me, I don't think the regular season matters at all. Like, it's just whatever. Like, we gotta figure it out until we get to the playoffs.
Austin Reeves, get ready to learn Atlanta, buddy. Like,
like or something.
Yeah, that I don't think that's happening. Kings, look, I'll just there was a little bit of burbling on that I started to hear about potentially. Look, Sacramento has been talking to the Bulls about 18,000 different permutations of trades over the last 2 years. Those front offices have a pretty good line of communication. I'm still kind of under the impression that Levine's going to be there through the deadline, but I would not rule out the possibility of Levine going to Sacramento as part of the trade. I do think De'Aaron Fox is going to wind up in San Antonio. Like, the structure of that deal is far enough along. I'm not saying that it's goal line. I don't have information on that. What I will tell you is, like, I've heard enough different pieces of that trade to be like they've made to put that together and be like they've made substantive progress. So I think Fox is a spur by Thursday. The way that this is another good example here, Fiddle. Lakers just moved to plus 115 division at FanDuel. Clippers plus 110. At DraftKings, it's Clippers minus 115, Lakers plus 180. So if you want to single out two teams, like I genuinely might do this as just like, you could probably arbitrate this with Lakers and Clippers here, I think. If you're willing to go ahead and say, I'm out on Phoenix, I'm out on Kings, I'm out on Warriors.
You said it's plus 180, and what was the second one?
Plus 180 at DK and plus 110, plus 115 at FanDuel.
That would be a 21% return as long as you put 43% of your bet on the plus 180, 57% of it on the plus 115 side. Is there a 80% or greater that it's one of the LA teams, considering Phoenix is looming? It's you're catching the prices at a good point where there's some discrepancy on the board. So it's a strike now or strike never situation.
Yeah.
This is not going to be available when the deadline ends and we figure out what Phoenix has done and if they're going to be a looming threat. I'm willing to short Sacramento personally. I'm willing to short Golden State personally. So in this case, I would definitely consider it.
Brandon, thoughts on that?
I would not do that angle. I think I would pick one of the two teams that you like. I don't want, it's too close in the standings right now and too unknown from all these teams, with Lakers moves to come, Suns moves to come, Kings moves to come, maybe Warriors. Like, there's too much unknown and too much of the season left in a closed standings window for me to want to arb and leave three teams totally out of the mix. And I don't want to be chasing later. To me, if you want the play here, I don't even know how long this will be. Like, Lakers plus 180 at DraftKings when it's plus 115 or 110 everywhere is going to last like until before this podcast goes up, in my opinion. Yeah. So I think if there's an angle, that would be the one to do if you like them. I don't know enough about the Clippers right now this year to feel decent about that, because I don't believe in anything the Clippers have done for years already. But I would say that
last year I spent half the year telling Brandon, no, the Clippers are different this year. No, like, they're really good. And he was like, what? They are the same team they've always been. They are frauds and they will not do anything in the playoffs.
I think this year they're different. Like, I would say I'm more convinced that the Clippers, like, I would want the good Clippers odds more than the good Lakers odds right now. I would take the fade the movement on FanDuel as a reaction to the trade and play Clippers or find the best possible price on the market, because they're tied in the win column right now with 28. Lakers just have one less loss, but you'd have to think there's some integration period between Luka and LeBron playing together. You think their defense takes a little bit of a hit, which, you know, it's really been struggling on that end for large portions of the season. They just get crushed in transition. So I would wonder, and then you think they have more moves to make. And if we're saying like it really matters for the playoffs, it really matters for the playoffs. Like, I'm almost more thinking Lakers to make the play-in would be a good way, or like a little Mavericks to make the play-in as well. I think both of those teams could easily find themselves in that 7 to 10 range right now. And that would be an amazing game. I would love to see that happen.
So we're in like a psychotic part of the market right now, as everyone's in the aftershocks of this are just rippling through everything on a Saturday night at 1:47 a.m. Thanks to Joe for staying up with us. The Lakers to win the Western Conference at Caesars are plus 600. They are plus 1,000 at DraftKings and FanDuel.
Caesars odds are so jacked up on this right now. Like, they have the Lakers at 10-1 to win the title. Like they have
Yeah.
the fourth shortest odds. It's the Celtics, the Thunder, the Cavs, then the Lakers. So, like, I think that's one of the things right now, like when you're betting in these scenarios where there is news, like the odds are everywhere. They're all over the place right
I'm
now.
gonna check the log and see if they moved. If anybody.
The Lakers, by the way, I realize that this data is now outdated, but the Lakers have a negative net rating on the season and a negative SRS on the season.
Yeah.
So yeah, by the standings, if you go by the advanced metrics, even though the Lakers are like in the 4-5 matchup and the Mavs are barely in the play-in, the metrics say that should be flipped. The question is whether that's relevant now that, I mean, we all think Luka is better than Anthony Davis, so why wouldn't the Lakers be better?
As far as I can tell here, Clippers odds are unmoved from this morning at 28-1. So like it looks like they just jacked Lakers and there hasn't been a corresponding move in the market. But I do think like that's
Clippers division odds appear to have dropped from, they were around -120 to -130 at books, because there's a few books that don't have the division odds up. So looking at at Action Network at our futures tracker that show their outdated division price because they're not up right now. So they were -120, 130. They're now plus 115 at the books that they're up at mostly. So
Yeah,
they have adjusted that direction on the Clippers, but maybe it doesn't move the needle on title odds for them.
like Lakers were still second for division. Like Caesars had them plus 300, but they were plus 180 at DraftKings.
No, they're plus 180 now at DraftKings. That one's up to date.
Okay, let me.
They were between 2 and 3 to 1. It looks like at the books that are not open right now for
I'm
that.
checking the log for last week to see where they were last week. Last week.
I mean, maybe they were plus 180 and DraftKings
No,
just
weren't.
left it up.
The Lakers 1 week ago at DraftKings were plus 225. So we're talking about a 70-cent move. That actually sounds pretty appropriate. I think that's about right. Like a 70-cent move to me sounds about right. Because like honestly, just like this division is just really like a bunch of like, oh boy, I don't know. I'm gonna talk myself into the Suns again. I'm gonna do it again. I know
sick.
I'm going to. I'm gonna do it again. Already lost so much money on them. I had them to be the 1 seed. Already lost a lot of money on them. They should not be this bad. Why are the Suns this bad? Okay. All right. Okay. We've been going for 42 minutes. Fiddle, what do you think is like the most important betting angle? Like betting correlate. Like, what's the thing to watch now? What do you want to watch here from a market perspective in the wake of this?
So I literally just 14 seconds ago placed a bet on tomorrow's Cleveland Cavaliers game. I would implore everybody, please go bet the Mavericks Cavs under 237, as well as maybe a little sprinkle on Cavaliers -13. You have to think it's really hard for this Mavericks team to actually show up tomorrow against a fantastic team on the road in Cleveland with this earthquake that just shook through their locker room. So I love the under. We've already seen it open 238 and come down to 237. It has not moved in the wake of this news, given the fact that Luka was not going to play. So it's not going to affect their lineup. That's not true in my sense of reality and what it's like with some human level of emotions that take place in some of these spots. So I love the under in this situation. I would think it's very difficult for the Mavericks to get up. Maybe it's a Mavericks team total under. Maybe it's playing the -13. I would sprinkle them all in different directions. And then I wrote down a bunch of different betting angles that I would absolutely look for. When Luka Doncic starts playing for the Lakers, I would immediately start betting Dorian Finney-Smith over on his threes props until that takes a clear market correction. I would look for Mavericks unders. We talked about how elite their defense is going to be. As soon as Gafford and Anthony Davis and PJ Washington are on the court together, I would be looking towards Mavericks unders, and I would be looking towards a lot of Klay Thompson unders because his stat set this year when he's played alongside Luka Doncic is so much better because Luka draws the defenders and is amazing at finding Klay in his spots. So without that, Klay's really been struggling. And so I would look towards Klay unders and fading him to just completely fall off towards the back half of the season. And like, but really, since I'm a bankroll churner, under 237 Sunday NBA basketball.
Okay. Superbook.
I think
at the Westgate, which is to me the sharpest. It's them and Circa. This is via Patrick Everson, who works for Vegas Insider with us. The Lakers went from they were plus 5,000 to win the title to plus 2,000. We have some moderate liability on the Lakers, like we always do. The Lakers aren't constructed to win now with this new roster. I don't think they're done yet. I went short at 20-1, anticipating more. So that's kind of the angle here. That's in favor of Brandon's side, right? Which is they obviously have to make more. If you think that by Thursday you're like, holy shit, they got Luka, Time Lord, if he can play, Bogdanovich or Capella or both. Like if they do all that, if they remake this team into a roster, how are you going to feel on Thursday? So like that's an argument to do it. I just don't know if that's worth it. Even in that instance though, Brandon, I would still be like, man, they're going to be rough for a while and the market will settle back down and you'll still get a pretty good price after you get to see them. Like we just know that after every mega trade, this is how it goes. The price spikes and then they actually have to play basketball when they're like, I don't know who you are. Am I supposed to give the ball to you? You, right? Like I get like you want the ball here and then I go over there. Like that stuff is what they have to figure out. So I just think that there's probably an opportunity at like, I don't know, fucking March, the second week of March to probably get a better price than the Lakers no matter what. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense for sure. I think that there's definitely a better price that can be had out there, and like definitely look around at the like even right now, like Joe said, they're 10-1 at one book, they're 14-1 at one book, they're 21-1. So like chances are good that if they're that spread out, that there's probably once the other books start updating, there's going to be like a 25-1 somewhere. Like they're going to go both directions still too. And different books will have different liabilities and take different odds. And so just to me, okay, help me out with this. Let's give the Lakers, let's just call Clint Capella the Lakers center. Whoever he is, some version of center number 25 to 35 in the NBA, like some moderately borderline starter. And let's say that's the only real addition that the Lakers get. I need you guys to help me out because I'm too out of the loop on it. Give me the Lakers 8-man rotation with the guys they've got right now, plus Clint Capella. If the playoffs start tomorrow, you added Clint Capella for nothing. What's the Lakers starting lineup? What's the rotation?
Your starting lineup is Luka, LeBron, Austin Reeves, Finney Smith, and Clint Capella. And you're bringing off the bench Gabe Vincent, assuming he stays around as the secondary ball handler and some defense. You're playing Dalton Connect as another shooter out there, and you're probably playing Jackson Hayes as in need of just some emergency big minutes.
And Rui.
See, I guess it's
And
Hachi.
I would assume Rui has to be on the way out on for the Capella deal, right?
Fair.
He has to be gone.
Some salary has to move.
Yeah. That sounds right.
So my question is this. And this is the question. The question we have to ask ourselves is that lineup, assuming they get just a palatable center and nothing more, the playoffs start, the Lakers are a top 6 seed, aka not in the play-in. Are you going to be mad that you have a 21-1 ticket on that lineup, given the other teams in the West and in the NBA? And I don't think I'm going to be mad about it. If I have LeBron and Luka, Austin Reeves is a pretty good player. Finney Smith is a really good role player. Like, I don't think I'm going to be mad about having a 21-1 on that lineup. You're right, Matt. I agree that like you don't buy immediately after the deal. That's when the price spikes, that there probably will be a better price later. But I don't think I'm going to be mad about having a 21-1 on that team.
Maybe. I just think also it's like, look, we are you are betting into a lot of unknowns right now. And that's not just with the Lakers too. Like you're looking at that with a lot. And here's like another element in all this. One of the biggest reasons why I thought the Lakers were still live, because a lot of the stuff that I do still has the Lakers way better than what their record is, was like, man, if they get into a series with the Thunder, I gotta like the Lakers here. They own them. They just have this huge advantage with AD. It's gone. Now the Mavericks still have an advantage over the Thunder. And so the Mavericks, the Thunder have to be like, are you kidding me? Like AD goes there now? I don't know. You might be right that I wouldn't be mad at having it, Brandon, but I also don't think I'd be like, yeah. I'd be like, yeah, we'll see. I don't know. We'll see if LeBron can hold it together for this entire time with Gabe Vincent in a key role. Joey, what were you gonna say?
I don't even know anymore. Like this, I just I can't
So,
I can't get that. The only this is my thought. Now I wonder, because you bring in a Luka, obviously, I think it obviously makes Austin Reeves. I think Austin Reeves is much more expendable than
yes.
than anybody else on the roster. Like,
Yeah.
I think he's the guy you have to move. It's not like Rui contract wise, sure, but like I think Austin Reeves is the guy that's redundant now, talent wise. But like I would move him. I think you're gonna get a better return and get a better fit for this roster. Like, I don't think you need him. I love Austin Reeves. I think he's on a great contract, but I think that he's the guy that can actually get you like a better return than Rui Hachimura.
Can I jump in? I think there's two thoughts to this. Joe, I disagree with that, because if you think that Luka is the guy in LA post LeBron, and you think Austin Reeves could develop into a secondary playmaker and primary ball handler, then it kind of becomes Luka and Reeves in the same way it was Luka and Kyrie for the last few years. I don't think there's a center out there that really makes the Lakers want to give up Reeves in this instance. And then back to Brandon's point, how would you feel holding a 21-1? Just working through the math of that, you need to feel okay until at least the Western Conference Finals. You need to be willing to go through 2 series without even thinking about hedging off of that ticket, because it's not hedgeable in the first. It's just like, oh, if I get to the playoffs, it's going to be half that, and what I could even start hedging it. That's not worth it at this point. There's so many other better angles. I hate hedging early in the playoffs. It's something I often talk about in terms of playoff strategies. You need to be willing to ride your futures for a few playoff rounds. So I think they probably have Reeves. They're probably dangerous in the playoffs. And it's really like, if the Mavericks slipped out, if now they have an edge over the Rockets, if now, maybe Denver's not the nemesis anymore, if they have an edge on OKC in a head-to-head matchup, you would feel good about it.
Yeah, and I think that to me, that's part of it, is like, let's say that the Lakers end up the 6 or 7 seed and Jokic is in the 4 or 5 and OKC is on the 1. They're on the other half of the bracket. And it's like, okay, can we beat like Memphis and Houston to get to the Western Conference Finals? And now, by the way, we just won 2 series and have LeBron and Luka, and the odds are we all will be betting the other side in that matchup. But because of that, that will imply value on the other side and value on possible hedging, because the Lakers will start getting priced too high if we are right about this position and the Lakers do start winning some things. But yeah, they're going to have to actually win some stuff for the ticket to be any valuable. To me, it like in our group chat with Matt and with Raheem Palmer, our former colleague, we talked last week about, is now a good time to buy Indiana Pacers futures? I said no, because even if the Pacers win a couple series, you get to these Eastern Conference Finals and they're still going to be like 10-1 underdogs against the Celtics or somebody. We just saw that happen. We literally saw that happen. And there's not a good enough hedge opportunity. I like this possible position specifically because there'd be a hedge opportunity. Not because I think they'll actually win the title, but because I think that there's a real opportunity that, oh, look, LeBron made the Western Conference Finals with Luka, and they have a real shot, and we have to price it accordingly. And I think there actually would be an opportunity to do something with it, even though I don't think that they have a real shot to win the title still.
There are conflicting reports about whether or not this was in the work for weeks or days, but it has been in the works for like, this was not like the Lakers called this morning or the Mavericks called this morning. They had time to rethink this. They had time for someone in the room to be like, look, should we just call OKC? Like, should we see what the offer would be?
How do you not leak something about like the way that the entire NBA world reacted, assuming it had to be a hack? Like, this is a move that you kick someone out of your fantasy league over. This is a move that the league is over. Like, everyone is so mad about this trade that the entire fantasy league blows up. There's like a 300 email chain and the commissioner's house gets burned down. and it's the actual trade that happened.
Yeah, just
What
I
is
mean-
the Mavericks' motivation for this? It makes no sense whatsoever. Like
So
I can't
defense wins
believe the whole
championships, baby.
it's a push in the chips now, but while giving away one of the best players, while clogging the room with Lively and Gafford, like this makes absolutely no sense. You don't call up Phoenix and say, what about Durant to go with Lively and Gafford and be healthy right now and pair him next to Kyrie again? Because you know they're actually still friends. You don't call up, you know, the I mean, who would it even be?
Call
You
up
don't call up the
anybody.
Rockets
You could
and ask
literally
for,
call
can we
up
have
anyone.
Şengün and one of your young guys? You don't call up OKC and say, we'll take Hartenstein and J-Dub, and you can have Chet, Luka, and SGA.
This is a trade that, like, I love them. We all love them. We all listen to them. But when Bill Simmons and Ryan Russillo are doing their like trade rankings, and they're like, yeah, you know what would be a good trade? It's time to move on from Luka. They would like throw this trade out. And in all of our group texts, we would all like mock the idiocy of the trade and how no team would ever possibly do this. And then that's the actual trade that just happened.
There's some decisions in the league where I'm like, if I was an intern that worked for this team, and yet we're talking about the Dallas Mavericks, who are known for hiring a professional gambler to help them come in and help draft Luka Doncic and make that trade when it was Haralabob a few years ago. But if I'm an intern in the room, like if I'm delivering mail, if I'm dropping off coffees for everyone, I'm like, guys, I don't mean to be rude here. I know you guys are the executives. Don't fucking do that. Just don't do that. Like I've played enough NBA 2K to know you just don't do that.
So what this comes, there's two things I think that are probably in play here, and there's a good chance that there's something more complex politically going on here. Whether like there's, if you ask me like what does that mean, it's like, man, I don't know. It could have anything to do like shoe contracts. It could be have to do with like the Adelson's financial situation. Like there's like a billion different angles that I could go in relation to this. One thing I will say is the Supermax contracts have fundamentally reshaped things. The owners in the last CBA, they did a magic trick with the players where they showed them the CBA that had been, and they put a big curtain up, and then they whoosh, and they revealed it. And it's like, and the players were like, oh, that looks like the same CBA, but like a little bit different. Yeah, we can do that. That's fine. But in reality, what they had done was they had replaced it with a hard cap. And the financial decisions that are being made, and look, I'm not like, I've been anti-alarmist about this because I'm like, they just signed an $11 billion media deal. Look at like the big picture here. The Boston Celtics are selling their franchise. Mark Cuban just got out. You have several franchises that are selling off, and you have moves like this, which there is beyond the basketball stuff. There is no financial justification for trading Luka Doncic if you're the Dallas Mavericks. He's too important for everything over the next decade in how much money you can make. And that just leaves me like a lot of questions about what exactly is going on here. Because the Adelsons bought this team from Mark Cuban, took over, and now this. And so somebody asked this question tonight, does Mark Cuban do this deal? And the answer is resounding no, never. He never even considers it. He doesn't even think about it. He said he laughs at the notion of it. His GM goes to him and he says, are you out? Like, go sit in a corner with a bucket on your head.
He's a huge winner tonight.
This is
For once.
By the way, somebody did tweet me this, which is Luka with the Lakers whistle is going to be generational.
Oh,
Luka,
man.
I think Luka is going to take an ungodly amount of threes with the Lakers, like because he's going to get to play a little off ball. I think a little bit even more than what he did in Dallas too. This is going to be. He's going to put up numbers. Like he's going to put up some crazy numbers. I think the rebounding might come down a little bit, but I think the scoring is going to be preposterous.
And
Absolutely preposterous.
let me be the first to start the conversation that we will dreadfully all have for the next year or two. The Lakers do not have much money attached to anybody anymore. LeBron has a year, whatever he's got. Austin Reeves is signed for 1 year. Luka is going to get his big deal. And then they're going to have a buttload of salary cap room for a Giannis deal or the next big free agent or whoever wants to come to play in Los Angeles with Luka Doncic. And that is going to be the story that we all hear about for the next couple of years until it happens.
Yeah. And in the meantime,
right.
he has LeBron. Like,
he has LeBron. Luka Doncic and LeBron James. All right. Let us know what you think. Go to youtube.com/The Action Network. Go to this video and let us know what you think about whether or not you want to get a ticket right now on the Lakers. Hit us up on Twitter at HB Basketball, at Wheaton Brando, at Joe Dellera, at Fiddle's Picks, and let us know what you think. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate you guys being with us. We'll be back for our usual Monday episode of the Future Jays. I wouldn't call it usual because we're still gonna be trying to figure out the hell's going on. We're gonna talk about other trade possibilities. We'll talk more about this deal. We'll get Jim's take on it and more. My thanks to Michael Fiddle, Joe Dellera at 2:09 in the morning a.m. Eastern time when he is the father of a how old's the kid on now?
9 months.
9-month-old. Yeah, you enjoy that not Sunday morning. And
Wait, Joe,
and
Luka
Brandon
got traded? Oh, no,
Yeah.
the other Luka.
Wrong.
And,
Luka with the C. Luka with the C.
and Brandon Anderson, who joined us all the way from the depths of NFL prep. You can catch Brandon and the Super Bowl episodes coming this week in preparation for on the Action Network podcast. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you guys again next time. Till then, let's get buckets. What the hell just happened?
I don't understand what happened. I can talk about this forever. LeBron tweeted.
Hey, David.
Hey.
Have a LeBron tweet.